Episode 13. Nanshen had regarded Tanhua as an interesting toy or pet, so when the toy or pet refused to be played with, it irritated his sadistic side. He felt an itch to bully his disobedient toy, or dog maybe. Okay, bye boss. Tanhua stepped out of the car and was about to close the door when she heard Nanshen say something. Ay, what a pity. At first, I was going to take you to a high-class restaurant. As my subordinate, you're my people now. But alas, you prefer McDonald instead, so, yeah, it can't be helped. With a dejected expression, Nanshen acted as if he truly pitied Tanhua for wasting the chance to eat at a high-class restaurant. Tanhua stopped in her tracks, her ears practically perking up at Nanshen's words. What? What did he just say? Something about a restaurant? A high-class restaurant. In an instant, she spun around. No, boss, I'm not going anywhere. She dashed back into the car and slammed the door shut. Nanshen smirked. Too easy. He watched as Tanhua settled back into her seat, practically radiating excitement. It was as if she had grown imaginary dog ears and a wagging tail, looking up at him eagerly like a pet waiting to be fed. Good boy, let's go. Nanshen stroked Tanhua's hair, his bad mood vanishing at the sight of Tanhua's reaction. This boy really was like a little dog. Tanhua, completely unaware that she was being treated like one, sat excitedly, waiting for the car to arrive at what she now considered the promised land, the restaurant. It had been so long since she last ate at a restaurant. And not just any restaurant, a high-class one. Maybe Boss Nanshen wasn't such a bad boss after all. Wait a second, she was going to have dinner with Nanshen, which meant, could this be that classic romantic scene? The one where the man in a drama brings the woman to a luxurious restaurant for an elegant, candlelit dinner? Could it be that Boss Nanshen had fallen for her at first sight? How romantic. Tanhua completely forgot that she was currently disguised as a boy. How could someone as straight as Nanshen fall in love with her at first sight? She was clearly watching too many romance dramas. Humming happily, she gazed out the car window, completely unaware that the devil himself was silently crafting a plan of torment. She had forgotten one crucial thing. There was no such thing as a free meal in this world. Nanshen still held a slight grudge. Tanhua had dared to put him in a bad mood earlier, and now he was plotting ways to make his little pet beg for mercy. A sinister smile crept onto his face as they drove to the restaurant. If you could put a filter on him, you'd see devil horns on his head and a tail slowly swaying, ready to tease his unsuspecting prey. CY Hotel, 5-star restaurant. Tanhua sat at a round, middle-sized table covered with a pristine white tablecloth. Across from her sat none other than the devil himself, Nanshen. It was now 8 p.m., and the sky had darkened, glittering with stars. The restaurant Nanshen had chosen was on the very top floor of the hotel, offering a private room for each customer. The room featured a transparent glass wall, giving a breathtaking view of the city skyline and night sky. Its futuristic, tube-like design made it feel as if they were floating in space. Wow, this is beautiful. Tanhua gazed at the city lights with wide, sparkling eyes. She had been to many high-class restaurants in her previous world, but none with a concept like this. It truly felt like being in space. Good then. Now, you can order anything you want, Nanshen said, looking effortlessly handsome in his gray suit as he generously offered her free reign over the menu. Really? Boss, you're the best. Overcome with excitement, Tanhua subconsciously grabbed Nanshen's hand and kissed it in sheer joy, much like a dog licking its master's hand in gratitude. For a brief second, Nanshen's entire body froze. The moment Tanhua's lips touched his skin, a strange sensation ran through him. Quickly, he retracted his hand, keeping his expression calm. What the hell was that? For a split second, it felt like he had been electrocuted. Shaking off the odd sensation, Nanshen dismissed it. Maybe his phone had vibrated, and he mistook it for something else. Never mind. There were more important things to focus on, like setting up a perfect trap for this disobedient little dog. Nanshen urged Tanhua to start ordering for herself, while he also selected a few things, including his favorite red wine and Wagyu beef. At first, Tanhua hesitated, feeling a strange sense of unease. She looked at Nanshen with suspicion, her eyes wary, but he simply waved off her concerns. What are you looking at? Don't worry, just order anything you want. Nanshen patted her cheek lightly with the back of his hand, laughing as he spoke. He didn't realize that, in that moment, he had shown a genuine smile, one that was rare for him. Of course, Tanhua didn't notice it either. She was too focused on the food. Once she was convinced her generous boss really meant it, she wasted no time ordering a full-course meal, from appetizers to dessert. Nanshen was slightly taken aback by her large appetite, but he found it oddly endearing. In his mind, a big appetite meant the dog was healthy. 30 minutes later, the food arrived. Tanhua's eyes sparkled as she nearly drooled over the dishes. Nanshen secretly chuckled. Her reaction was almost identical to that of an excited puppy. The way she looked at the food reminded him so much of his own dog. Well, it was a natural response for an ordinary office boy to have when faced with such high-class cuisine. While Nanshen was amused by Tanhua's reaction, she, on the other hand, was close to tears. Meat. A smooth plate, a proper fork and knife. A sparkling glass, a full-course meal. It had been so long since she had seen them all. Her beloved Wagyu steak. She couldn't even afford regular beef with her current financial situation, so seeing this luxurious dish again nearly made her cry. Her hands trembled as she became slightly emotional, gently stroking the surface of the steak with her fork, lost in her memories of better times. Nanshan, completely misunderstanding, assumed that Tanhua was hesitating because she didn't know how to eat properly in a high-class setting. With so many different types of spoons, knives, and forks laid out in front of her, it wouldn't be surprising if she was overwhelmed. Full-course meals often had strict table etiquette, and someone from a poor background might not be familiar with it. Ah, he had completely forgotten. This boy came from a struggling family. This must be his first time in a place like this. Of course, he must be feeling awkward. Nanshan assumed that Tanhua was unsure of which utensil to use. Tanhua's real thoughts: I really want to hug my Wagyu steak. Just as Nanshan was about to teach her the basics of table manners, he was caught off guard by what happened next. Even though Tanhua usually acted like a reckless child with no common sense, she had actually been raised in a wealthy family. She had spent years learning proper etiquette, and using the correct utensils was second nature to her. She wasn't about to eat like a barbarian. With effortless grace, Tanhua picked up her soup as the first course, choosing the correct spoon and beginning to eat with impeccable manners. Her movements were so smooth and natural that for a moment, Nanshan wondered if she was actually a young heir from a wealthy family. While he watched her in admiration, Tanhua was busy holding back tears of happiness. This was what real soup was supposed to taste like. Unlike the tasteless imitation she had been living with, it had been far too long. 30 minutes later, Tanhua had finished every last bite of her meal, and Nanshan had also completed his. A waiter entered the private room and handed Nanshan the bill. This was the moment in any classic romance drama where the CEO would casually pull out his unlimited black card, effortlessly displaying his wealth for the woman he had brought to dinner. Tanhua was practically glowing with excitement. She had seen this scene in countless dramas, but now, she was about to witness it in real life. It almost made her feel like a female lead. Well, not really. But still, there was no harm in daydreaming about it, right? Tanhua eagerly awaited the moment, but what Nanshan said next nearly made her flip the table and throw red wine in his handsome face.